नमस्कार, गुड इवनिंग टू ऑल। आपका दोस्त और होस्ट सुनील शर्मा आप तमाम लोगों का स्वागत करता है आज के इस वेबिनार में। दोस्तों, जिस वेबिनार का आज विषय है, बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण विषय है, लॉ रिलेटिंग टू गिफ्ट्स इन इंडिया। और इस विषय के महत्वपूर्ण विषय के जानकार जो तमाम गिफ्ट आप डीड करते हैं अलग अलग रिलेशन में, तो विषय बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण है दोस्तों। सवाल भी काफी सारे आएंगे, लेकिन इस विषय के जो आज के हमारे कीनोट स्पीकर है, जानकार हैं, अमर खन्ना जी। अमर खन्ना जी हमारे साथ जुड़ चुके हैं, उनका मैं स्वागत करता हूं। और साथ ही हमारे जो मॉडरेटर हैं, एडवोकेट नरेश भाई। एडवोकेट नरेश भाई हाई कोर्ट में एडवोकेट है, साथ ही पैनल एडवोकेट है महासेवा के, उनका भी मैं स्वागत करता हूं। तमाम आप जो तमाम अच्छे हमारे प्यारे वेल विशर्स, फ्रेंड्स और जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, उन सभी का मैं स्वागत करता हूं। आज के जो कीनोट स्पीकर है दोस्तों, बड़ा ही महत्वपूर्ण विषय है, लॉ रिलेटिंग टू गिफ्ट्स इंडिया। और इस विषय के कीनोट स्पीकर अमर खन्ना जी का और नरेश भाई का और तमाम आप सभी पार्टिसिपेट का स्वागत करता हूं दोस्तों, इस खूबसूरत लाइन के साथ में कि दिलों में वही बसते हैं जिनका मन साफ हो। दिलों में वही बसते हैं जिनका मन साफ हो, क्योंकि सुई में वही धागा प्रवेश करता है। सुई में वही धागा प्रवेश कर सकता है जिस धागे में कोई गांठ नहीं होती, जिस धागे कोई गांठ नहीं होती। और हमारे अमर खन्ना जी भी ऐसे ही हैं।
Basically, the Transfer of Property Act contemplates the following kinds of transfers, namely sale, mortgage, lease, exchange, and gift. Among these kinds of transfer, gift is an exceptional one. In the case of gift, there is no consideration involved. The transfer of property through gift must be made out of love and affection by one person to another. A gift is generally regarded as transfer of ownership of a property where the sender willingly brings into effect such transfer without any compensation or consideration in monetary value. Chapter 7 of the Act deals with the transfer of property through gifts. Sections 122 to 129 deals with the concept of gifts. All the sections are interrelated with each other and they have to be read conjointly to understand their effect. Section 122 of the Transfer of Property Act defines gift as a transfer of certain existing movable or immovable property made voluntarily and without consideration by one person called the donor and another called the donee, and accepted by or on behalf of the donee. The subject matter of gift may be in the form of movable or immovable property, and the parties may be two living persons, or transfer may take place only after the death of the transferor. When the transfer takes place between two living people, it is called inter vivos, and when it takes place after the death of the transferor, it is known as testamentary, that is wills. Wills do not fall under the scope of the Act, and thus only inter vivos transfers are referred to as gifts under this Act. Gift and will, the distinction, basic distinction between gift and will. In the case of Mathai Samuel versus Epen reported in AR 2013 Supreme Court 532, it has been observed by the Supreme Court that the real and the only reliable test for the purpose of finding out whether the document constitutes a will or a settlement is to find out as to what exactly is the disposition which the document has made, whether it has transferred any interest in presentee in favor of the settlees, or it intended to transfer interest in favor of the settlees only after the death of the settlers. So if it is in present, it is treated to be a gift deed. But if it has to take place after the death of the executant, then it is considered to be a will. Here we should remember the nomenclature does not mind. There have been various Supreme Court judgments which say the nomenclature should not be taken into consideration. What is to be taken into consideration is the content. So even if the heading is deed of gift, but if the content says that it would take effect after the death, it will be treated as a will. Composite documents. A composite document is a document having special features of a will and a gift in respect of items and properties covered in the schedule. A composite document is severable and in part clear testamentary. Such part may take effect as a will, and other part, if it has the characteristics of a settlement, that part will take effect in that way. So whatever part is relates to will be treated as a will, and whatever property relates to settlement or a gift will be treated as a gift. A document which operates to dispose of presently in presenti, property in presenti, in respect of few items of the properties is a settlement, and in future in respect of few other items after the deed of the executant, it is treated to be a testamentary disposition. Essentials of a gift. In order to constitute a gift, the essentials are: the gift is transfer inter vivos, that is between living persons, of any movable or immovable property. Gift is transfer of certain existing movable or immovable property. The transfer must be made without consideration. The transfer must be made voluntarily. The donor must be a competent person. It must be acted on behalf of the donee. What do you mean by certain existing property? It is necessary that the property intended to be transferred by way of gift should be certain, that is capable of identification, and in respect of only those properties which are existing on the date of gift. A gift of future property is void. Section 124 provides that property must be in existence at the time of making of a gift. Otherwise, the gift will be void. An actionable claim is an existing property and it can be gifted. A gift comprising of both current and future property is void so far as it relates to the future property. A mortgage or a lease immovable property may also be gifted. Voluntary transfers. The gift must have been made by the donor voluntarily. That is, the offer to make the gift must be voluntary. A gift therefore should be executed with free consent of the donor. The expression free consent has been defined in section 14 of the Indian Contract Act 1872 to mean consent which is not the cause by coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation or fraud. Where the consent, it should be mistake, misrepresentation or mistake. Where the donor is not free, the gift will not be a valid gift and will be voidable at the option of the donor. In the case of Pratima Chaudhary versus Kalpana Mukherjee, reported in 2014 for SCC 196, the Honorable Supreme Court has observed that the court dealing with such a case has to ask two questions: whether the relations between the parties are such that the one is in a position to dominate the will of the other person, whether the position has been used to dominate the will, that is, whether the undue influence has been actually exercised. That means the court has to see whether the person was in a position to exercise undue influence, and secondly, whether undue influence or fraud or whatever it is has been exerted or not. A gift must be gratuitous. That is, the ownership in the property must be transferred without any consideration. The word consideration refers to monetary consideration and does not include natural love and affection. If the consideration is a nominal amount of money or the property is grossly undervalued, yet the transfer would not be a gift but a sale. In fact, the passing of even small money as a consideration would destroy the nature of transfer as a gift. Gifts in lieu of expectation of spiritual benefit or promise to look after the donor in her old age are transactions without any consideration. Competence. Section 7 of the Transfer of Property Act provides that only such persons can effect a transfer of property who are competent to contract. Donor is a person who makes the gift. Thus, it is absolutely necessary that the donor must have attained the age of majority, he must possess a sound mind, and he should not otherwise be disqualified under any provisions of law from making such a gift. Acceptance. Gift is complete only when the same is accepted by the donee. Property cannot be given to a person even in gift against his or her consent. That means consent should be from both the ends. The donee may refuse the gift as in cases of non-beneficial property or onerous gifts. acceptance of gift is necessary. Such acceptance may be either implied acceptance may be inferred from the conduct of the donee and the surrounding circumstances. When the donee takes possession of the property or of the title deeds, there is acceptance of gift. In the case of K. Balkrishnan versus K. Kamalan, reported in AR 2004 Supreme Court 1257, the Honorable Supreme Court has observed that when the gift of immovable property is not onerous, only slight evidence is sufficient for establishing the fact of acceptance by the donee. When it is shown that the donee had knowledge of the gift, it is only normal to assume that the donee had accepted the gift, because the acceptance would only promote his own interest. Mere silence may sometimes be indicative of acceptance, provided it is shown that the donee knew about the gift. No express acceptance is necessary for completing a gift. It is not required that the donee must accept the gift at the time of execution and registration thereof by the donor. But the donee should accept the gift during the lifetime of the donor. Thus, if the donee fails to accept the gift during the lifetime of the donor, or during the time the title of the property vests with the donor, the transaction is void and is not a legal gift. Where the donee is incompetent to contract, example a minor, or insane, the gift must be accepted on his behalf by a competent person. The gift may be accepted by his guardian on behalf of his ward, or by a parent on behalf of their child. In such a case, the minor, on attaining majority, may reject the gift. Where the donee is a juristic person, the gift must be accepted by a competent authority representing such legal person. Where the gift is made to a deity, it may be accepted by its agent, that is the priest or the manager of the temple. Section 123 of Transfer of Property Act deals with the manner in which transfer can be made valid. According to this section, a transfer may be effectuated by the following conditions. The transfer of the movable property can be completed by the delivery of possession. Registration in such cases is optional. The gift of a movable property effected by delivery of possession is valid irrespective of the valuation of the property. The mode of delivering the property depends upon the nature of the property. The only thing necessary is transfer of the title and possession in favor of the donee. Unlike the gift of movable property, an immovable property cannot be validly gifted by delivery of possession alone. For the purpose of gifting an immovable property, the transfer must be effected by a registered instrument signed by or on behalf of the donor and attested by at least 2 witnesses. Gifts of immovable properties, corporeal or incorporeal, of the value of ₹100 or more needs to be registered. Section 123 of the Transfer of Property Act provides that an instrument of gift of immovable property must be registered and signed by or on his behalf of the donor and attested by at least 2 witnesses. Further, Section 17(1)(a) of the Registration Act lays down that an instrument of gift of immovable property must be compulsorily registered regardless of its value. In order to effect registration, the document must be executed, that is signed by the parties to a document. In the case of Gomtibai versus Mattulal, reported in AR 1997, Supreme Court 127, the Honorable Supreme Court observed that the gift of immovable property should be made only for transferring the right, title and interest by the donor to the donee by a registered instrument signed by or on behalf of the donor and must be attested by at least 2 witnesses. Similarly, in the matter of Ganpat Rao, Ramji Nagdul and another versus Dattatreya Guru Daulatgiri Maharaj and another, reported in 2010 to Maharashtra Law Journal 718, the Bombay High Court has observed that it can be concluded that the document, namely gift deed, alleged to have executed, the document, namely gift deed, alleged to have been executed. It has been further observed that no title has been passed in favor of the defendant number 2 by virtue of unregistered instrument of gift, which is in conflict with the provisions of Section 7 of the Registration 17 of the Registration Act and Section 123 of the Transfer of Property Act. So it is clearly emphasized that the title does not get passed down. Similarly, in the case of Sonia Chikalikar and another versus Anita Fernandez and another, reported in 2015 3 BCR 406, the Honorable Bombay High Court has observed that the gift deed which was compulsorily registrable had to be registered by the donor. It had to be registered during her lifetime. That would imply payment of necessary adequate requisite and sufficient stamp duty to enable it to be registered by the registering authority. The document would be complete gift only when it was registered. It would not be a valid gift prior to the registration. Once registered, the registration would relate back to its execution. So like I said, title does not pass on until the gift deed of immovable property is registered. Void gifts. The following are included under the category of void gifts. If it is for an unlawful purpose, it is made upon a condition the fulfillment of which is impossible or forbidden by law, it is by a person incompetent to contract, the donor dies before the acceptance, or it comprises of both existing and future property. The same is void as to the extent of the future property. Conditional gifts. Gift is transfer of ownership without consideration. Like other transfers, gift too can be made subject to certain conditions. A conditional gift is a present given to someone without any consideration in return, but with a condition attached to it. But the condition should necessarily be lawful. Condition prohibited under any law will not allow the beneficiaries to execute the gift deed. The conditional gift can only be revoked when the donee fails to fulfill the conditions attached to it. The gift is only transferred to the recipient on the occurring of some condition as stated in the gift deed. If the said event fails to occur, then the person giving the gift can take back. The gift will only be complete when the conditions are fulfilled and the donor has the chance to cancel the gift deed before the conditions are actually fulfilled. Thus, in Renu Kuntla Rajamma, deceased by legal representatives, versus K. Sarvanamma, reported in 2014 9 SCC 445, the Supreme Court has observed that the mere fact that the donor retained the right to use the property during her lifetime did not affect the transfer of ownership of the property from herself to the donee, as the gift was registered and accepted by the donee. Onerous gifts. A gift is said to be onerous when it is accompanied with a burden or an obligation. Like the expression onerous actually means a liability. This section is based on the maxim qui senti commodum sentiare debitet onus, which means that he or she who receives advantage must also bear the burden. The first paragraph of section 127 provides that where a gift is in the form of a single transfer to the same person of several things, of which one is and the others are not burdened by an obligation, the donee can take nothing by the gift unless he or she accepts it fully. So if in the same transaction there are several things involved, then the donee cannot say I accept one and I reject the other. When such conditions are present, the donee will have to accept the gift fully. He or she cannot accept the benefits of gift only and reject the burdens or obligation. The provision provides that the donee may either accept the full gift or reject the burdens or obligations. This provision provides that the donee may either accept the full gift or reject that. Partial acceptance is not allowed. The second para of section 127 provides that where a gift is in the form of two or separate and independent transfers to the same person of several things, the donee is at liberty to accept one of them and refuse the others, although the former may be beneficial and the latter may be onerous. Thus, if a gift is made, accept the beneficial one and reject the onerous property. Now, what does this mean? When a donor executes two or more than two gift deeds in favor of the same donee, and the donor says, I accept one and I reject one, that is permissible in law, because those are two separate independent transactions, suspension and revocation. Section 126 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882 deals with when gift may be suspended or revoked. According to it, the donor and donee may agree that on the happening of any specified event which does not depend on the will of the donor, a gift may be suspended or revoked, but a gift which the parties agree shall be revocable wholly or in part at the mere will of the donor is void wholly or in part as the case may be. So if it is upon the will of the donor, then it is void. But if it is on a condition which does not depend upon the will of the donor, then it is valid in law. A gift may also be revoked in any of the cases in which, if there was a contract, it might be rescinded. Such as aforesaid, a gift cannot be revoked. Accordingly, if a gift is made subject to a condition of it being revoked in future, the condition must be valid and enforceable under those provisions. Section 126 basically lays down two modes of revocation of gift. Revocation by mutual agreement of the donor and the donee. In this case, the donor and the donee may agree that the gift shall be suspended or revoked upon happening of an event, not dependent on the will of the donor. The condition revoking the gift must be expressed, and it should not be merely in the form of a wish or a desire. Revocation by rescission, as in the case of contracts. Like if the contract is not with free consent or the donor is a minor, then in such cases, a gift is revoked at the option of the donor. Gifts under Mohammedan law. A Muslim can devolve his property in various ways. Muslim law permits the transfer of property inter vivos, that is gift, or through testamentary dispositions, that is will. A disposition inter vivos is unrestricted as to the quantum, and a Muslim is allowed to give away his entire property during his lifetime by way of a gift. But only 1/3 of the total property can be bequeathed by way of a will. It should be noted that by virtue of Section 129 of the Transfer of Property Act, Mohammedans are exempted from the provisions pertaining to gift as laid down in the Transfer of Property Act. The term hiba means gift under Mohammedan law. It is transfer of property made forthwith and not for consideration by one person to another and accepted by or on behalf of that person. The gift of immovable or movable property need not be in writing under Mohammedan law. A Mohammedan of a sound mind and not being a minor is at liberty even to make an oral gift in respect of immovable or movable property in favor of a donee, provided that such an oral gift is made in the presence of witnesses or by a public declaration, so that it is indisputable that the donor had indeed gifted the property to the donee and has put such donee in possession of that property. In the case of Hafiza Bibi and others versus Sheikh Farid, said by legal representatives and others, reported in AR 2011 Supreme Court 1695, the Honorable Supreme Court observed that the position is well settled, which has been stated and restated time and again, that the three essentials of a gift under Mohammedan law are declaration of gift by the donor, acceptance of gift by the donee, and delivery of possession. Though the rules of Mohammedan law do not make writing essential to the validity of a gift, an oral gift fulfilling all the three conditions make the gift complete and irrevocable. However, the donor may record the transaction of gift in writing. So, writing and registration of a gift is not compulsory in Mohammedan law. Stamp duty. In the case of gift deed of a residential or an agricultural land in favor of near relatives, that is, in favor of husband, wife, son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, or wife of a deceased son, the stamp duty is 200 rupees. In the case of gift deed in favor of any other family members not mentioned above, the stamp duty is 2%. when the gift deed is to persons who are not near relatives and not even family members. It is equivalent to the sale deed or the conveyance. Taxation. Over the years, the law related to taxation of gifts has undergone many changes and its scope has widened. Initially, only individuals and HUFs were covered within the ambit of taxation under the Income Tax Act vis-a-vis gifts. Today, the scope is wide enough to cover all persons who are in receipt of specified gifts above the prescribed threshold limits. As per the current tax law, any person receiving a sum of money or an immovable property or any other specified property from another person without consideration or for an inadequate consideration that is less than the fair market value of the property or stamp duty value in case of immovable property is liable to be taxed on the value of such gift. However, any sum of money or any property received from a specified relative on any occasion is specifically exempted from qualifying as gifts and consequently from the incidence of tax. It has been clarified that relative in this case of an individual shall include his or her spouse, spouse's siblings, siblings of either of the parents of the individual, any lineal ascendant or descendant of the individual's siblings, spouse of individual siblings, any lineal descendant or ascendant of the individual spouse, spouse of lineal ascendant or descendant of the spouse of the individual. In case of HUF, relative includes any member of the HUF. With that, I would end my presentation. Thank you.